It's 3:02 p.m., Friday, February 13th. Knock on wood. I will call this meeting to order, a special meeting of the Whatcom PUD Commission. We have one particular agenda item to consider authorization to the general manager to sign an IRU agreement between Whidbey Telephone Company, doing business as Whidbey Telecom, and Whatcom PUD. And first, would shall we make any modifications to the agenda? Any motions?
No.
Nope.
No. I think
Just
it would
one
be
need to approve
appropriate
it.
for us to, offer updates related to this. And so in the proceeding of things, I think that would be most useful place to start because we may have all gotten a little bit of new information in the last 3 days separately, and this is our first chance to talk about it. So would anyone like to provide an update on this topic?
I can provide just an overview of what's happened.
Okay, please.
So I recalled the meeting that Commissioner Deshmani was referencing, but vaguely. And 10 years ago, I would have said, "Oh yeah, here's what we said, and here's the date," and but that's not today. And started a search for it Tuesday afternoon. I searched about 4 hours. Joseph and Andrew both searched a whole bunch, and Lisa really took it to the mat. And about 8 o'clock on Tuesday night, she found it. And then she wrote a little summary, and I believe I forwarded that out to all three of you, and just to give you an idea of what it was. So in actually, I forwarded out my summary of Lisa's summary. I didn't send Lisa's summary out, but uh, so what we found was that when we were looking at the port IRU and looking at what we were going to do for future bead contracts, that was where the initial 2025 came from. And it was, you need to make sure that the port negotiates this in, and that was kind of the marching orders, and we went off on that. After that, starting in about April, we became aware that the bead requirements were probably going to change. And I gave you guys some heads up in all of those meetings leading up to it. But then the first June meeting, I had some particulars, but it hadn't been published yet. And I told you it was about to happen. In the second June meeting last year, that's when the new bead NOFO had dropped, and we'd had a chance to look at it, and it basically stripped out all of the public purpose stuff completely. And so at that meeting, I told you guys, we're going to go ahead and proceed with the bead on this basis. And the consensus from the three of you was that you didn't like it. I get that. I didn't like it. I actually liked the old bead NOFO. It worked well for us. But kind of is what it is. And reluctantly, you agreed. In a meeting after that, Andrew talked about truing up um, um, the Point Roberts IRU, which is the one we're talking about today, to conform with the BEAD IRU for a couple of reasons. First was kind of economies of scale. And second was the ISPs that were out there already knew about this, and they had communicated back to us that, if you want us to be your ISP, we will, and that's about it. And so he modified the IRU, took that out to Whidbey Tel, worked back and forth with their legal staff and our legal staff, and that's how you got to the document that we brought on Tuesday. Also on Tuesday, I reached out to Whidbey Tel with Tuesday or Wednesday with the recommendation we want to modify the open access language, and here's how we want to modify it. And their answer came back a hard no. So it was pretty blunt, and so anyway, that kind of brings us to where we are today. And my recommendation is now the same as it was on Tuesday morning, that you guys authorize me to sign the IRU and get that going with Whidbey Tel so that we're ready when we get all the other stuff with DAP and the tribes and the make ready work from Puget and the funding from Treasury and all the other things we have to get nailed down in the next 2 weeks to make this project actually go. And now I'll shut up and entertain questions.
Anyone would like to start with a question?
I, I think what Chris did is do a good job of explaining, where staff is and how they've shepherded his ball to the place we're at today. I just you asked for updates. There were some conversations that I had here at Wapuda, and I wanted to share about that. And I don't know if you had any conversations, Eddie, as well that you'd like to share. But and these are just FYIs. So should I go first?
Okay, if we hold, let's hold for a moment before additional updates. But just to, just clarify here, as Chris reported. So yeah, recommendation to approve the IRU, of course. Um, do we have alternate language to approve today that you all had?
We do
No,
not.
we do not. Okay, just to
Yeah.
be sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have comments that aren't, I don't know that specifically relate to what Chris had just said.
Go
Because
ahead.
after Chris sent his email synopsis, I vividly remembered the meeting. And it was when Commissioner Lagacy was here. And it was one of those just really kind of emotional meetings where eventually Atul and I agreed that we didn't love it, but there was really no choice in the matter if we wanted to serve the people of Point Roberts. We just had to kind of suck it up, and this is where we're at. And I still feel that way about this IRU. Like, I don't necessarily love it. I don't think it's perfect. And I'm grateful that Whidbey is going to be there to service the people of Point Roberts. God knows they've needed this for years and years and years. I grew up here in Blaine. My kid goes to the Blaine School District. They suffered immeasurably during COVID, literally landlocked, begging for, people to give them, rides by boat, fishermen rides by boat to go to appointments. And, because they didn't have good internet for telehealth. The school didn't have internet for kids to connect well to their schooling programs. Like, it's not perfect. And I feel passionately about them getting that service in any way that we can provide it. Yeah.
Wholeheartedly agree. Uh, as did you have any just before we move back to Atul, did you have any additional things to share?
No,
Questions?
I'm in favor, and I could make a motion if you guys want, but it sounds like there's some other comments too. So I'll let Atul speak.
The updates, finish the round table and then get to the matter right up.
Yeah, let's finish our updates and then we'll come back to the action item today. Atul, please.
Okay, I've got three updates. First one is I was able to get a hold of Todd Lagacy, who was at the meeting. We don't normally do public comments, but maybe we can let Todd speak briefly to because he voted against this compromise. And I'd like to hear from Todd on that subject. That's number one. Number two is I talked to staff at Wapuda and at other PUDs, staff at other PUDs, and they suggested one way to address. I was thinking about the comment that Andrew made at our last meeting about the state stipulations. So then I researched the state stipulations, and there's specific language about open access. And so I was thinking that 12.1 could be reworded to just refer directly to the state stipulations. But we'll get into that when we get to the subject matter at hand. So that's just the second item I wanted to provide an overall update. That's what staff at other PUDs, as well as staff at Wapuda suggested we might do. Again, add a reference to state stipulations, and Andrew, while I'm moving on to my next update, I'll just mention it. It's 54.16.330, parentheses 9C, parentheses I, which is the open access provision. And I thought that might be easy because then that would, obviously all this thing goes through the state office. We're all obligated in the matching fundings from the state office, so it just seemed to me that might be the simplest way to handle it and the least controversial way to do it.
Was that an RCW you just
It's
cited?
an RCW, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'll move on to my last update, and that is another thing that was said in our last meeting that made me think was about this dependence on the treasury, and for no fault of our own, I don't think. Obviously, we can all have crystal balls, but since we didn't have a crystal ball, I would say it's no fault of our own. The number of BSLs dramatically reduced. I think, Chris, you said about half, and the cost also increased because we could do no digging. I think you said about double. So I did the math in my head, which is 4 times the price per BSL. The Treasury is now concerned. It's a different project. I had a casual conversation with folks from the broadband office here because they presented this week, and one of the things I was exploring is that if something happens that fundamentally changes the economics, could a hybrid option still be plausible for Point Roberts? Now, I don't know what I'm talking about when I say that to my staff, Chris, of course. But I'm just offering that as an idea. And the reason I'm offering is because it may be completely infeasible because, you got to go back to engineering, and you got to go back to engineering. That may be too much time, and that may make the option completely implausible too. So those are my updates. And then after maybe I hear from all the updates then, and I would like to have a brief comment from Todd if we could, Chair. And then I'd like to go to specifics of the language.
Okay. Todd, I see you. If you mind waiting, I just wanted to make sure we got through everybody's updates and questions. Does anyone have any questions for Atul? Staff?
I just have a kind of an observation. I know Andrew looked at this and Whitby did as well. We were trying to figure out a hybrid option, and what we found was the tree canopy up there interferes greatly with any kind of wireless transmission, and basically concluded that a hybrid option there just doesn't work. It'd be way better just to go to low Earth orbit and do it at that level if you can't do it with some kind of a land-based system.
Well, you know how to discourage me, Chris.
I'm sorry. Well, we looked at it because that's a good
I'm
idea.
joking. When you brought up low Earth orbit, it's all hell no.
Well, I mean, it was one of those deals where we looked at a cheaper way to do it, and we were trying to figure this out. And then I know Andrew went over this a whole bunch of times, and basically that was the conclusion, that we just can't figure out a way to make it work because of the tree canopy cover.
Hmm. Andrew, any comments? I had a question. No.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Or go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying not at this time. No.
Okay, good. But I'm sure I understood. I told you said you talked to staff at Waputa and other PUDs about this. And that was just like perspective. Was there any and you said, can you say, did they offer something? If you go back and clarify that.
Yeah, and I'll get into that when we get to the specifics, but they
Okay.
offer I've got specific language, minor changes to the agreement to address that, and it really was basically directly referred to the state stipulations on open access. So.
Okay. Right. And like the RCW cited on open access. Okay. So we'll be getting to the main event and your proposed language specifically. My updates were actually, why don't we hear from Todd? If Todd had something in direct response or questions, I'll allow you to provide public comment.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Good afternoon, commissioners. Good afternoon, PUD staff. And hello, Peter. Thank you for this opportunity. First of all, I'd like to point out, I don't think an email was sent out about this special meeting. And I know it appears that it was compliant with the RCW. but I did not get the normal email notice that I get as far as PUD meetings. And that's a little discomforting on something this important. I know it's a very short notice, but I looked through all my emails and I did not see that the normal email that is sent out with agendas and noticing the meetings was sent out for this special meeting. So I think that that's something the PUD needs to take notice of. Secondly, I do remember, as Jamie said very vividly, the discussions that we had. I believe it was October 8th. And in looking through the PUD's website, the agenda for October 8th is there, but the minutes are not there on the PUD website that I could see. And I remember the conversations that we had, all three of us, about this and about public interest. And what this reminds me of, now seeing this IRU changed even further, it reminds me of the Darth Vader Lando Calrissian deal in Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, where Lando says, this deal keeps getting worse all the time. And Darth Vader says, I've altered the deal, pray I don't alter it any further. And I just wonder why the PUD is in such a rush to hand over public assets to a private entity. So I just appreciate this opportunity to remind all three commissioners that, you know, I don't think anybody has a gun to your head. Nobody's getting frozen in carbonite here. Maybe we can take a moment to slow down, maybe waiting them out and seeing if something happens in the future as far as different broadband deals that come around that don't transfer public assets to private companies. Thank you for this opportunity. Have a good day.
Thank you, Todd. And that's really helpful for me to understand your perspective behind your vote on October 8th. Also, yeah, now I'm looking it up and there are no minutes for October 2024 on our website. I'm not sure why. That's something perhaps we need to correct and update. So noted. And I'm sorry to hear that, yeah, with this being a, you know, a meeting decided on very short notice that the email notice didn't go out. I'm glad you were still able to make it. So thank you. Thank you. That it's really helpful. I had some updates to share. Also, well, just regarding, I mean, regarding just, I mean, the sense of the time sensitivity and urgency here, where, you know, we're in this position, it feels like the perfect could be the enemy of the good because we can't afford any further project delays in order to, you know, get this thing on track and get done, rather than put it further at risk or behind, you know, where we really got to get this thing done this year and get these people served with broadband as our, you know, chief priority here. You noted, you know, it was flagged, staff flagged on Tuesday, where the Office of the State Treasurer, you need to approve or revise scope, could, you know, potential to hold things up. So I did inquire with some of the you know, the lobbyists, contract lobbyists for Waputa down here that have worked on telecom, and they were very graciously willing to help us if you know, or see where they might be able to offer assistance or pointers. And I said that you know, if the staff could get in contact, they could better explain the situation than I could to get them what they needed to know. But yeah, I think they were more than happy to help us as members of Waputa on that. Yeah, so if Andrew, I don't know if we could connect you perhaps to so gentleman Scott Richards, and then I think Stephanie Zelapuza at Waputa. We could put you in touch.
Yeah, it's probably a little late for that today. So Andrew, on Tuesday, can you reach out to Stephanie and close that loop?
Okay.
Is Monday a holiday for us?
We'll all be here, but it is a holiday.
It's a holiday. the Capitol is still open. I believe session continues on Monday, even on President's Day. Uh, um, wait, but are we, wait, so
We're talking about getting hold of Treasury, which is staff department. They're probably not
they're
there.
probably not open. That's true. Yeah, it might, well, wait till next week, but yeah, just so, uh, yeah, probably Tuesday's probably all the better. I think everybody's pretty busy with the cutoff coming up, legislative cutoff on Tuesday, but yeah, to get in touch with them next week, I think, just in case there's a way they could help, make sure we're just doing what we can. And I, yeah, I'll just see what other avenues we can go through there. And yeah, but to the action, I also like a kind of a chief concern for me is that anything we do to revise this contract doesn't lead to undue delays. And knowing that we really need to get this thing dialed in. And so knowing that Whidbey is comfortable with some changes to language and open access, sounds like that should be pretty smooth to work out.
No, they've declined that. They've said they want no changes to the language around open access.
Oh, maybe I misunderstood that. No changes at all?
That's correct.
Okay. Declined as in uh
We've been over this 1,000 times. We're not going to revisit it. They gave us some really good explanations on their definition of open access. It's determined by tariff, which they have filed. It's not clear to me if that's with the FCC or with the UTC, but they basically have an open access tariff that they charge to everybody, and it's been approved as just and reasonable, like all other rates. And so they're not interested in any modification at all. Now, if the UTC is the one that grants the tariff, then obviously the state language would be fine. But I think it's the Federal Communications Commission that does the actual open access tariffs, like FERC does the open access tariffs for transmission lines.
I guess I wonder, Peter, do you have anything to add on that?
No, I mean, as I understand it, a tariff-based, what I understood Whidbey to say is they have a tariff-based rate, which I don't know this area specifically as to tariffs, but typically that's a regulatory charge, and they're just saying they would default and probably they may not even be able to deviate from that. That's typically a regulatory charge, a regulatory approved charge, and that's what they're saying. Their intent is for when they charge others on this section that we were talking about. I think it is 12.1.
Right. Um, okay, well, I guess I'll entertain a motion for action.
You don't want to discuss it further?
Also, Jamie, if you make the motions, I've got specific amendments that I can.
Yeah, I guess that's what I meant. If like I'm sorry,
Well, I will make a motion to approve the IRU with Whidbey Toe.
I'll second it.
Oh, and actually I should say, and I to allow the general manager to enter into the agreement, correct?
okay. I think motion second. I do think we should can discuss before calling a question. And wait, procedurally though, if you want to oppose an amendment, wouldn't that
That happens after you make a motion in a second. So
now you can
now I can bring up the amendments. Yeah.
Okay, is that all right?
I think that's right.
Is that right? I thought okay, if you were then it wouldn't. Okay.
Yeah, we're pretty loosey-goosey. Until
on our
you guys
Robert's
vote
rules.
on it, we can make amendments.
Okay, do we have a motion to amend the contract?
Well,
So
Or
yeah,
amend the motion.
I'd like now to make two amendments, and I think we should I'd like to present them both first, and then I'd like to get second for purposes of discussion, so I can explain them both, and then we can decide what to do from there. So let me go ahead and make the to the amendment, which is really in two different sections of section 12, called fees and charges. The first one is under 12.1. Should I go ahead, Chair?
Okay, so right now you're just explaining your motion.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So we're under discussion of the prior motion, but under that discussion, I want to introduce the two amendments before I actually make the two amendments. So the first one, there's two aspects. One's under 12.1. Joseph, I think, has his hand up.
Just for
Joseph.
clarification, I understand you guys are doing discussion, but when this goes to motion with whatever amendments Commissioner Deshmani is proposing, I need it to be stated as one fluid motion with amendments stated explicitly, and then the second and the approval.
Understood.
Are we allowed, like, maybe I'm just getting muddled and we need to review my Robert's Rules book, but like we can do stacking motions like that.
I'm not, that's
According to Robert's Rules of Order, you would actually have to quash the first motion and then make a second motion with all of the amendments in it.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, it would be a
well,
new
I'm sorry,
motion.
that's not true
Yeah.
at all. I mean, that's not true at all. You make a motion, and when a motion is introduced and seconded, then that's where the motion what Jamie made is that we're considering this document that Chris and staff introduced. Okay, now I have specific amendments for that, and when those amendments are introduced, they have to be seconded, and if they're seconded, we can have further discussion, and then they're approved, and then we vote on the entire motion as amended. That's how parliamentary procedure works.
I think we should just proceed.
Okay, as long as Joseph is able to clearly record the action, and this will all be
It'll all be fine.
okay. As long we'll have a clear motion at the end of it. Right now,
Right.
technically, we're just in discussion right now. Okay,
Yeah.
so please explain what amendments would you like to make?
Okay, so so I'm not going to give the specifics yet. I'm just going to introduce the subject. So I'd like to get right to that. Okay, so 12.1, we've all discussed it. So it refers to Whitby-Tell and their rates, and as Chris explained, they want to stick to their open access offering that they've already gotten approval. So I'm changing 12.1, keeping this same heading. Fees would be may charge ISPs to. The description will be shall charge terms and conditions which comply with RCW 54.16.330 in parentheses 9 C in parentheses I. And now I will read that. Open access network means a network that, during the useful life of the infrastructure, ensures service providers may use network services and facilities at rates, terms, and conditions that are not discriminatory or preferential between providers, and employs accountable interconnection agreements published and available publicly. Now, the state in this funding is both administering and supporting this allocation of funds. We are not able to violate state law and RCWs in undertaking this agreement with Whitby-Tell. If we put something in the agreement that doesn't comply with state law, then we, as commissioners, as elected commissioners in the state of Washington, we're exposing ourselves to a challenge, and we're exposing the PUD to legal challenge as well. So for that reason, a reference to state law on open access is the safest way for us to proceed. And if Whidbey thinks that their tariff is safe, and that's up to them, but that's what this is doing, holding them accountable to state. The other change is very simple, and I'll be glad to, and I'll come back to this one, but the other change is very simple, and that is to add a 12.3.1, which is to require Whidbey to pay a $5 per served BSL fee to Whatcom PUD. Now, the important designation here is the fee that I'm suggesting is $5 per month per BSL, only when they're accepting service. And what this does, it creates a mutual incentive for our local government that's involved in this, Whatcom PUD, and Whidbey to encourage and increase adoption. So those are the two changes I'm going to propose as amendments. But before I do that, I'd like to entertain some discussion so that maybe if there's any thoughts that I can modify either of these languages.
Jamie, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I think that the First Amendment, I'm totally amenable. I can't imagine that they wouldn't be either. I haven't talked to them like staff has. You're just referring to state law. For all I know, their tariff may take that even further. I don't know, but at least we're complying with state law. I don't know about the BSL fee because I feel like they're going to say absolutely no way. And maybe that's just, a starting point. I'm not sure. I can't imagine that they would get to this point with a contract and us tell them, oh, actually you're gonna, have to pay us a bunch of money. Here's the thing too, and it just is like broader than getting down to the language, is that Point Roberts isn't a highly desirable area for any ISP to be in, right? Like we're in a lot of this is just we're offering like a last resort option. It's not my ideal situation. So I don't know. That's all I have to say for right now.
Right now, wait till Google moves there, Jamie.
What's that?
Wait till Google moves there.
Yeah, right.
If I may, can I get that site again? I have 5416.339 little I.
Yes. And the 9 is in parentheses. Well, what you'll get when you go to the RCW, you'll find the page for 54.16.330, and then you'll just have to scroll down to find.
I'm there. I'm just not seeing what you.
Yeah, I know.
What you stated.
It's hard to read, as you well know, probably better than me. It's hard to find stuff in statute. RCW 5416.330, parentheses 9, capital letter C.
There's no capital. Well, so it's 9. So that isn't the way it works is 9. There's 9 A, B, and C.
I know, and keep going down.
Could someone either show the language on the screen or paste it into well, we don't have a chat, I guess, but like a tool,
I could share it. I think I could share it.
Or I just looked it up and I'm looking at it. I mean,
you want to help Peter? Maybe I'm saying something wrong.
Well, it's what he read. Yeah, it's the definition of open access under 54.16.330 9.
Oh, Peter, I think I see the problem here. Okay, I think here we go. Peter, it's 9, little c, little little
Oh,
VI, then big C, and then little I. Does that help?
it
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You see where it says open access network? That's it.
it's yeah, it's frick. It's yeah, not it's
Okay. I just want to see the language. Yeah. Okay.
You see
it
the language there? Okay, good. Yeah.
nine yeah, nine CCI or something. I don't know. It's weird. Nine CI. I don't know. Nine CI. I don't
But
whatever.
now that Peter's got it, that's
Um, Open access network means a network that during the useful life of the infrastructure ensures service providers may use network services and facilities at rates, terms, and conditions that are not discriminatory or preferential between providers and employees, accountable interconnection arrangements published and available publicly. Uh, I guess this is where if Peter could think on this for a moment and we could just get clarity on does our contract as written
Well,
equate to like does it fulfill that definition?
yeah. I mean, I think as a commission, as elected officials, I don't think we have any choice but to embrace the statute.
I think the objection that Whidbey may have is that they don't have necessarily interconnection agreements with all these folks if they have it under a tariff. You don't have an interconnection agreement from Puget Sound Energy for your house. They just serve it. You pay the tariff.
Maybe they're ineligible to receive this funding then.
Well, that's possible.
I mean,
When I talked to him
well, so let me just interject here. I'm sorry, Chris. I mean,
That's
there's
right.
a general compliance with all applicable laws. So if they were to do something that they're bound to either under state law or the grant, that would be a breach of the agreement.
we shouldn't put anything in an agreement that is different than state law.
If as I'm reading this statute, I mean the law governs us. Like we're the one. It's not the ISP that is responsible, right, to comply. It's the public utility district that intends to provide retail telecom. Oh, but that's to provide retail, and we're not providing retail. We're
Right.
delegating that.
Yeah, and this funding is to help them provide retail telecom, so they're obligated to the state, and we shouldn't tell them anything different.
Well,
Andrew,
no, I mean, that's a good point. Everything under 9, let's see. Everything under 9, I think, has to do with a PUD providing retail telecommunications services to end users.
And this is not that. Andrew has his hand up.
yeah, Andrew, please.
Oh, I was just gonna, thank you. I was just going to say in the IRU, in the recitals, number 11 does say Whidbey will operate and maintain the Point Roberts system as an open access system in compliance with the grant and the agreement.
In the recitals?
Yep, at the very beginning of the document.
I suspect if we were to walk through this agreement, we would find all kinds of references to applicable law and the grant. I just haven't gone through it for that purpose, but
If I may, for a moment, go off on the BSL charge topic for just a minute. Because we did talk to Whidbey about that, and they said, look, for us, it would just be a pass-through. And then what we would end up is we'd have people that are served under 2 different rates on Point Roberts, one being $5 a month higher or $20 a month higher, whatever the fee is, than the normal customers. And they said, why would we do that? We would just create a problem on the ground right up front.
That's a good.
And I think that's a really good point. And so it's suggesting for those that are served, rather than just everybody.
But my point is that, they're already serving about 1,500 customers up there, and they have their service rates. If we were to have any kind of an adder on it, it would literally be an adder on those standard service rates.
Yeah.
And that's their concern. They
And
don't want to
that's
have,
like $5 a month for incentive for us to be working together to get greater adoption. You know, I one of the things that's really important to me, and actually the new head of the broadband office presented here at Wapuda this week, yesterday, and she said going forward, one of her number one priorities is adoption. And she, like me, sees that it's a high risk thing when we get a bunch of money in, build a bunch of infrastructure. We're all on the hook. I mean, all of us are on the hook to make sure that federal infrastructure that's being federally funded infrastructure that's being built gets used. And I'm just trying to create the support structure to make sure that we do everything we can to make sure that happens.
so what is it that we're going to do with that money?
Well, there's a variety of things that are being discussed. Mia Gregerson's got some specific bills to address what can be done to address adoption. But, you know, I've talked about specific ideas on our end that can be done to support adoption. And the most important one is the creation of a help desk function in the library system that will provide support to make sure that, you know, just purchase hourly time from staff at the library so that there's someone to answer the phone to help people get connected, find out and advocate for them.
So what you're suggesting is that we take ratepayer derived money and divert it to a general government purpose in violation of the Okeson settlements. Because the libraries are a general government function.
Mm-hmm. The libraries would be a general government function specifically focused on providing services to telecom. You know, I don't want to get into a legal argument today. You know, and I just want to be clear, we're having discussion. And what I'm proposing is something that I'd like to be part of a request, obviously subject to legal review and subject to approval. So this thing about let me get into the specifics of what I'd like to propose for amendments. The item related to 12.1 is for me a hard point, referencing the state law and not doing anything that undermines our responsibility to carry forward state law. That's a hard point for me. On the per BSL fee, I'd like to introduce that amendment, recognizing and giving the general manager the ability to not break the, you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to do something that breaks the law, and also subject to negotiation with the ISP, meaning that if they reject that idea, I'm okay with it, but I don't want to not have followed through on my responsibility to try to get it. So I just want to say that, and I'm ready to make the official amendments now.
Can I say something, Atul? Just because yes. It just triggered thoughts with me when Chris was like, oh, they'll just use it as a pass-through. So obviously that means they're not going to be paying the $5. Their customer's going to be paying the $5. So, you know, letting you know that I grew up in Whatcom County, I'm a little familiar with Point Roberts. And so I just looked up some statistics in Point Roberts to kind of prove what I already knew. Roughly 36% of the households in Point Roberts earn less than $50,000 a year, and they have a 15% poverty rate. And I just hate the idea of charging poor people even $5 for because that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be charging them $5 a month. And I know that $5 a month will, like, I understand that there's, you know, it's going to be used in good ways, but I just, you know, call me crazy. Someday I wish that the people that paid for those good things to be done it's not going to be on the backs of poor people, which is unfortunately what I think this will be doing. Right. It's like another damn sales tax here in Washington state. Right. We're just going backwards. Anyway, so that's my issue with it.
Honest about it. So maybe then, based on what you're saying, Jamie, what I'd like to do is break it up into two amendments. The first amendment is the language that I've already stated and we've already talked about, having to do with open access.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll go for the second. And I just want, Jamie and Eddie, I have no hard feelings if you vote the second one down. I totally understand. The first one, I really think I'm trying to protect us all and trying to protect our organization. Just to be clear. So under 12.1, I've already stated the language that after the bolded item, fees would be made charge ISPs. I'm making an amendment.
Atul,
Yeah.
if you pause, please, Commissioner. Yeah, so procedurally, yes, we are going to do 2 sequential votes on each of your proposed amendments.
Yeah.
So we're gonna break those up. But since we were still in discussion about the second one, so we did kind of stray and like shift to that as all part of our discussion on the main motion. So just clarifying where we're at right now. Still, it's still just general discussion on the main motion, laying out the 2 motions that you're going to make, so we know what's coming and we'll be prepared. And then regarding, Chris's and Jamie's comments on it, I just wanted to weigh in on where I'm at, so before we get there. And just so we, keep straight and I don't forget, there may be, okay, so yes, this would essentially be us imposing a fee that would be increasing the monthly rate for these services, which is kind of just directly contrary to goals of affordability to the greatest extent possible. We know folks who are going to get service by Would-Be-Tell aren't going to get the lowest rates found in Washington by far. But they're going to be served, and I'm hopeful that there may be there this isn't a BSL fee isn't the only mechanism by which we might be able to get new revenue, or could maybe other opportunities in the future once we have this network system in place to be able to provide more assistance or discounting or ways to offset those costs for folks, similar to how there's low-income energy assistance programs and there's a bill right now, right, working on more state assistance for that. There may be opportunities in the future. As for now, if we were to impose a BSL fee, the main reason I would think that would justify doing that would be because we need more cost recovery, because the cost of the system is greater than what is going to be provided through these grants. And that actually does seem like it's still a risk, where, we could, we're trying to we're scaling the scope of our service to match the funding that we have based on our cost estimates. But I mean, if staff could weigh in here, I mean, there is still a situation in which we would have to make up a difference in cost, or is the understanding through the IRU that it's really just Would-Be-Tell will make up the difference and they'll get cost recovery?
Yeah, Would-Be-Tell, they always have the right to turn down the project if they cannot get cost recovery. The risk is all on them, though. It's not on us.
Okay,
So there's no cost recovery argument I can make for a fee to us.
And that's
right.
why I totally respect your choices on that.
Well, I guess yeah, and as far as where, doing some math here, so if it was we're getting 400 something service locations, was that our
We're going to have about 800 passes with the current design. And then
we
you
don't know.
typically get a 60 to 80% take rate.
Yeah, okay. So there's some range. I mean, $5 million over decade. I mean, $5 a month for all those over decades. I mean, yeah, it could add up to like over $1 million, it's as far as it could be put to use. And, is $5 a huge difference? Like I guess I would be interested in doing that if we had worked it out way earlier in the process, where knowing that, I guess my other question is, like, if we renegotiated this now, this would change, would this as far as it being part of the IRU, this wouldn't require us to have to go back for like another round of approval from WISBO or would it?
What we would have to do at this point, we have to go back out to Would-Be-Tell. So, I mean, the choices that the commission faces today are pretty straightforward. You either direct me to go ahead and sign the IRU as is, or you direct me to go out and negotiate changes in the IRU with Whitby-Tel. Those are the only two choices here.
Yeah.
So if you want amendments to the thing, that's fine. And we'll go back to Whitby-Tel starting on Tuesday and work with Peter and well, Andrew will do most of the work, and Andrew and Peter, but they'll craft the language and they'll propose a red line version, and we'll have to go back and forth through that. I
Right.
gotta say that I'm not sure that and my read on the open access was what we asked for in the first place was pretty benign. They rejected that. I can't see any reason why they would reject this, but I was wrong the first time. So, my batting average on this one is not good at all.
Yeah. Okay. And so, but in our prior negotiations, if I understand, we chose not to include the BSL fee because we wanted to just keep the cost as low as possible.
That's right. That's what, yeah. And that
Yeah.
conforms with the bead arrangement. It also, it helps on our per pass costs on the older contracts like this one.
Right. And in this sense, we don't need the cost recovery because we're passing through grants to the ISP, and then cost overrun risk is on them, and they have the right to recuperate through the fee that they charge their customers. And they can serve above cost, correct?
Mostly. So they would be able to recover the costs through a rate hearing at their regulators level. And it would probably be recovered from all of their customers, not just the Point Roberts customers.
Gotcha. Yeah.
The
Right.
second thing is that they
Yeah.
have told us that if they can't make this project work within the price of the grant, they walk away from the project. So there's not really going to be a cost recovery issue for them because if they can't make it work with the grant, it doesn't work.
Okay.
Andrew, did I characterize that correctly?
Yep, I think that was well said.
And that's helpful. And then to clarify, so your motion would be to assign a $5 fee per month into the IRU that would most likely be passed through, but that's up to Woodby. And then it would just be later that would go into an account of ours, and later we would decide what to do with it.
Yes, subject to obviously legal review, and yes,
Okay.
I don't want us to break any laws in the process.
And again, so if you could restate, did you say that our other broadband PUDs that you consulted with were advising that a BSL fee was a good idea, a good way to go, or or
No, I want to be very clear. Almost all the PUDs in Washington State are not taking the IRU approach. There are some that are. But I have no experience on the only BSL information, fee related information I have is from the port. The extensive time I spent with Gina on the subject, and some limited time I have talked to, of course, our staff and then Tyler at the port. I am not representing that this idea has legs beyond Whatcom County. Andrew and Chris might be able to speak to that, but I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, so we're really different than a lot of PUDs in a number of ways. First, we don't own the poles that
Right.
the fiber's being put on. Second, our county was served over 90%.
Mhm.
And when you look at places like Chelan, they were 2 or 3%, if at all. And so they built out an entire telecom network. So if they want to provide a help desk for that, they just roll it into their rates. And they don't need a BSL. If they want to go out and do all kinds of outreach, they just charge and do that and recover it through their retail rates. We're not set up like that and not intending to set up like that.
So Chair, I'd like to propose something in the interest of time. I'd like to
Yes.
move on to my specific amendments, and then we've had lots of discussion. Hopefully we don't need any subsequent discussion. I'll introduce one motion. We'll hopefully get a second, and then we can vote on it. And then I'll introduce a second motion. And the way I intend to word the second motion is in a way to minimize problems, but we'll get to it when we get to it. So let me.
Okay. Do we first need to quash our main motion?
No, we don't.
We
No,
determine
it's
this?
amendment to the main motion.
And Commissioner Deshmani, I will you take a recommendation on how you want to phrase the proposed language on 12.1?
Sure.
I mean, if you're going to do this, I would just say at the end of the sentence, just say further
No, where are you? Are you at 12.1? There's no sentence.
12.1
Okay, so what language are, at the end of what sentence?
at the end of 12.1 as it currently reads. Further, Whidbey shall ensure that service providers may use network services and facilities at rates, terms, and conditions that are not discriminatory or preferential between providers. And the reason for that is that's a way to isolate what I think you're trying to achieve. Open access is arguably defined in other parts of this agreement. I don't think you add anything by adding what potentially is an inconsistent definition. I also don't want to refer to the statute because I have a hunch that that statute actually doesn't apply to this agreement. And so I want to pull out the thrust of what you're trying to achieve and just insert it.
Go with me. That's why you're Peter.
Okay, so then for clarity here, if Peter could show us the language on the screen, then we could have a motion to accept that language as our recommended amendment to the contract.
Well, I
Okay,
would
you
just
want
say,
me to,
at this point, you guys don't need a motion at all.
yeah.
You squash the original motion and then you tell me, here's the language we want you to go back and negotiate. And then I would bring this back to you and say, okay, now we have a renegotiated, or it's the same, it got turned down, and you
Right.
either, accept the negotiated settlement or
Okay, I hear you now. Okay.
Okay, yeah, right. We're not gonna, if we're not gonna approve the contract today, then we're just giving you direction for.
that's right.
Okay,
So do we need some kind of a motion to approve Peter's suggested language?
I think for the sake of clarity, we should vote on
We should
whatever
vote on
we approve.
to quash the original motion.
Okay,
Call for the vote.
I'll
Chair.
okay. Call to question. All in favor?
No.
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 So we're done there. Okay.
Motion quashed. Is that the correct term? Now,
It's a colorful term.
Further,
Just that's I didn't write out would be
Whidbey
that's
tell.
Whidbey. Yeah.
Whidbey tell shall ensure that service providers may use network services and facilities at rates, terms, and conditions that are not discriminatory or preferential between providers. Does that capture your intent, Commissioner Deshmani? Yeah. Okay. Jamie, thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, I like it. I hope that they accept it. So that's I'm fine with moving to approve that language.
Right. I think what we're seeing is a motion to recommend the general manager negotiate this language into the agreement. And that's the motion I like. Can I make the motion, Jamie?
Yeah.
I'd like to make the motion that the language that's on the screen here, we advise the general manager to take this language to Whidbey Tell to secure its inclusion in the contract.
I'll second.
Further discussion. Staff.
Peter, if this passes, would you so kindly, any language that gets submitted to Chris, would you please so kindly email it to me so I can have it verbatim in the record?
Yeah, but whenever you're doing something like this, I'm assuming that is substantially in this form because you never know when you tug on one thing, it changes something else. But this is yeah, I'll send it to you. No problem.
Thank you, sir.
I will allow. Todd, as a former commissioner who had a minority opinion on previous motions related to this, would you like to weigh in again? Todd Lagusty?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You know where I stand, that transferring public resources to private entities is a deal with the devil, and I just don't support it. I appreciate Commissioner Atul Deshmani's approach, and I understand it. I just think in the long run that waiting it out to keep public resources public is a better one, but sausage is not made by sticking with one thing, and sometimes you got to compromise. So there's my opinion and my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I respect that position. And it is, honestly, this is very difficult. This is where what our options are limited to right now. But I guess if as it's being presented to us, and staff seem to be recommending, we either go forward at this point or we're not getting broadband at Point Roberts if we don't do an IRU with Whidbey-Tell. Like, I mean, going back and being, us being maybe just like us being, going forward as an ISP and all of that, right? I mean, that's there's many steps involved to take a turn in course that large at this point.
Yeah, and we've examined that, and that for us, because of the very high already served rate in Whatcom County, would be a monumental money loss forever.
Okay, so I'd like to move on. I'm sorry, we haven't voted on this.
We haven't.
All right, let's call to question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And Joseph, I believe already clarified, recorded the motion and its intent, and you got all that, Joseph?
Yes, who was the second on that? Just to double check. Was that you, Jamie? Did you second that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'll get the wording directly from Peter for that for our minutes.
Correct.
Right, which was to recommend that staff re-enter discussion with Whidbey-Tell with this language or
Correct.
something.
And that will also apply to this second motion. That same language of entering into Whidbey-Tell with.
Well,
Yes.
let me make that second motion.
Please.
Peter, could you do me a favor and throw up your language again?
Yeah, let me, I'm deep. I got multiple windows up here. I'm sorry. I will get that back up.
Sorry. Thanks for you're helping me. Don't need to apologize. You wore a tie for today, huh? Okay. Further, Whidbey shall provide a $5 per BSL per month based on actual service, retail service, I guess we could say, to Whatcom PUD. And for my okay, and that's the I'll make the motion. That's my motion.
Don't look at me.
I don't understand based on actual retail service to Whatcom PUD.
Oh, I'm just saying that only when a customer starts utilizing internet service based on this federally funded infrastructure, I just making clear that, 500 locations, right? We shouldn't be getting paid for 500 locations if nobody accepts service on those 500 locations.
Okay.
It's only for places that actually accept service.
Okay, so this could be rephrased, but yeah, I think I understand. We could rearrange the syntax of it, but $5 per broadband service location per month to Whatcom PUD.
You know, if I may,
Yeah.
Peter, if you could just put the word served in front of BSL.
And then it could end, yeah, okay. Thank you.
And then you can get rid of all the rest of that.
Per month. Yeah, there we go. Simple. Okay, and this would be something that, it's up to them to agree to or not, correct? And all we can do is ask.
Yep.
And suppose, we're going to give the staff the leeway to negotiate. I wonder if we do attach this motion, should we, like, if we did this, are we making it a deal breaker? As in, this is deal or no deal?
Well, I'm just letting my colleagues know that for me, the BSL fee is not a deal breaker. I'm not going to speak for anybody else. I'd still like to ask. For me, the language on treating to not favor Whidbey who's receiving federal fund. I mean, damn it, these people are getting federal funding. For them to treat themselves better than others, it just isn't okay for me. So the first amendment, I mean, not amendment, sorry, the first recommendation that motion we passed, that's a hard point for me. The second one is not a hard point for me. So when this comes back to us, if this $5 is not in it, doesn't matter to me. But like, I can't accept an ISP that is expecting us to consciously approve preferential treatment based on their own decisions. I am not okay with that. I don't want to work with an entity like that.
My read of just talking to the Whidbey folks is that it's possible the addition of the language on open access would be fine. My sense was that this added fee would be a deal breaker for them.
Yeah, and I'm again, the way I'm making this motion is that it's up to you to explore it, and if they reject it, it'll come right back to us, and then we'll be able to vote in our the commission will be able to vote. And I'm telling my colleagues that I'll vote for it if it's got the above piece and it doesn't have the $5.
Okay, so right now, though, just for the sake of brevity, we do have a motion on the floor, right?
Second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking up the second, so that would be on you, Eddie.
Gotcha. We have a motion and no second. And yeah, these clarifying questions are all helpful because I'm trying to make a decision here. And because it's it's one where I could see the benefit of this, and for all the work we've done, or that our staff have done, Andrew in particular, that we are passing through federal monies to a private company in order to serve this underserved area. And at the end of the day, we will have, I suppose, it's an IRU, and so we will, after the termination of the term of this contract, or at some point, right, we will still own a broadband network, correct?
No, we will not.
No, we won't.
Yeah.
Because it's irrevocable.
Yep, it flows over, the assets flow over to Whidbey. We never touch them.
Okay, we will never, it's not, I thought there was like an end after, okay, maybe I need to reread it, but okay, the end, like, there's not a end point where it needs to be extended. I mean, there is
No.
clauses around,
No, other PUDs have done that, but we decided not to do that.
and there's,
And it's too
but
late.
there,
I mean, that would be a fundamental change in the structure of the agreement. There's no way to do that.
It may be terminated by the mutual agreement of the parties. In which case, I guess that's what I'm trying to understand. If the agreement was terminated by mutual agreement, that would mean that it would default back to our,
No.
no. So
No,
there,
there's no circumstance where we end up with a telecom business up there at all, or any telecom assets.
okay, so we won't have any assets as a result of this.
That's correct.
But we will have brought the funding to make the project happen.
Right.
That's right.
By the way, colleagues, I just wanted to say one of the benefits of this fee, obviously recognizing that it's a really hard sell for Woodbury, but if it were to happen, it would get us voting rights at the telecom committee. There's a rule at the telecom committee is you've got to receive $1 for telecom infrastructure, and so this would get us $1, even $5.
I'm going to be really transparent and vulnerable with my colleagues here. Like, it is not so far in my past when I was a single mom clipping coupons for 25 cents off of diapers. I know you think it's just $5, but when you're serving a population that has a 15% poverty rate, that could be the difference of somebody having dinner for a night. And I know that we sit here with privilege. We're receiving just our PUD salaries are enough for some of us to live off of. I will never ever pass through a cost onto impoverished people just because I think it's going to get us something better in the end. I will repeat, I think that there are better people out there to pay for the things that you want this money to go towards, rather than the customers of Point Roberts. And that is what I'm planting my feet in the ground on this one.
Okay, yeah, and I'm ready, Jamie, I mean, I totally respect your read of this situation. And again, I repeat again, it's not something that I propose the amendment. It's it's consistent with the policy guidance that we adopted a while ago, and I'm following through. I hope you respect that too.
I do.
So
yes, the spirit.
Let's vote on the darn thing.
Yeah, I guess this is all just
Well, first it needs a second.
yeah, part of my confusion, and what I'm doing is I'm listening to the arguments of both of my fellow commissioners to decide if I want to bring it to a vote. And because I think there's good reasoning as far as why a tool identified this as something and what it would with really just I think what it's really about is position. It's putting us in position to do more broadband. I think charging the BSL fee is really about signaling that we are in this and this would not be the final stop for us. And it would put us in a category as a telecom PUD that we otherwise won't be. And that's been this big question of debate for us all along is this the final stop? Is this a one-off thing at this particular window of time that we had where there was money and then there's not going to be more, and are we not going to do any more? Maybe because there's not going to be a need in the future, hopefully, but that's the key thing is like it's really about leaving the door open and then yeah, I absolutely am that this is very much you know I agree with Jamie and it's I don't I in order if we were going to impose a fee it'd have to be a really good justification for it, and if we don't really have that I do wonder as far as like with or without the fee we don't really have a guarantee on what the end price will be. So, whether or not this is a pass through, if we're talking like, we're expecting bills of something like 100 a month, maybe is that what was your expectation, Jamie, on as far as like what service should cost.
Yeah, I think it's already expensive. I mean, it's great internet. That's why it's expensive. But I think, didn't they say it'd be somewhere between $50 and $70, or is that just something I'm coming up with? That's
I think those were the numbers that were tossed around with BEAD. We were targeting, I think, and Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong on this, somewhere between $80 and $100 was what we originally thought was reasonable up there for, you know, essentially
what do
gig
we
symmetric fiber.
what do we think today, Chris, Andrew? What
Well, I mean, gig symmetric fiber goes anywhere from $80 to $150 a month, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
So we're talking like 50 to 150, probably wide range.
Yeah.
I don't really know what would be tell would charge.
If I could make a request in the interest of time, we're also at the Put offices, and I want to respect Liz too.
Yeah, let's say we're gonna end by 4:30 here. We're almost there.
So I'd prefer that we get it seconded because this is a sincere effort on my part. And I'd like us, if voted down, I'm totally fine having voted it if we don't get the votes, but I think we should go ahead and second it and do the vote.
All right. I was just buying time, trying to make up my mind here because this was part of my confusion. I suppose in all of this, I feel like it's like all things, the thing takes years and years, and then it finally comes to us, and there's all this time pressure to do it now or never, and I wasn't here for many of the prior steps, as I know you all were, so I'm leaning heavily on all of your views on it, and there's a difference of opinion. So falling in the middle here, I will second the motion.
I've got no further discussion.
yeah, no, I think I've said everything I need to say.
Call to question.
No.
Yes.
Abstain. So the motion fails.
Well played.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll take the proposed language back to Would Be Tell, which is the First Amendment, and see if we can negotiate that into the IRU and bring it back to you guys.
And I just wanted to make a closing comment, if I may, Chair. And that is
please, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody's staff, my fellow commissioners. I'm sorry to have dragged this out of the special meeting. I just feel like everybody with some conflict in the air showed a lot of class. I'm just really grateful to be part of this team. And I just wanted to thank everybody today on Friday before the weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for putting up with me. I'm doing it because I care about the same community you do. And I don't think that people who disagree with me care any less than I do. So I just wanted to make sure you all heard that from me. Thank you.
Go tango your heart out.
Thank you.
Alan Tango.
Well, I also, just want to give appreciation to everyone here and for working through this because, as much as it's a stretch for all of us after a long week to hang on and spend this extra time on a Friday. This is one of the bigger decisions we've had to make as a commission. I mean, this is a major question about the direction and the future for us. This is our first real broadband project where we're gonna, this is pivotal, and it really is going to make all the difference in the lives of the folks living in Point Roberts now and in the future. And I'm glad we were able to just give it the time I needed to consider this because it's the little things and the big things. So really, and thank you so much for staff, and we're just going to put our faith in you to go forward and negotiate with and with much appreciation also to Would Be Tell for working with us on this, and thanks to Todd also for your work on this and your perspective. And we're sorry to disappoint, but hopefully, at the end of the day, this is going to work and it's going to get built and it's going to light up. So thanks to everyone. And I'm going to, seeing no good of the order, adjourn the meeting.